Today, let's take a look at a very important skill mentioned in chapter 3. This skill can be used in your personal life and also your professional life. And hopefully, by the end of this, you have an understanding of this skill and will incorporate it in both situations. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone? You were listening to that person. Typically, these conversations take place in a relationship when there's maybe a heated discussion. They're talking to you and you're listening, but you're looking around, or you may just be preoccupied by just kind of writing or doing what you're doing, but you're not looking at that person. Although you hear everything that they're saying, their typical response is, listen to me. And you respond with, I am. But there's like, no, you're not. But in actuality, you're hearing everything that that person is saying. Nonetheless, there's something about your body language that is telling them that you're not really interested. Another situation is, have you ever talked to someone who was fiddling with a pencil or just simply just staring around the room? And what do you say? If you don't say, listen to me, you just kind of have this conversation in your head that goes along the lines of, this person's not interested in anything I'm saying. They're not even listening. This tends to take place with kids. If you have children, you can definitely relate to this situation. Today, let's take a look at the skill called attending. Attending is showing body interest. It is a nonverbal skill. It is only a physical skill that you will use in the field of counseling and hopefully in all of your relationships. The skill of attending is simply showing body interest. Let's proceed. First and foremost, the skill of attending, showing body interest to your clients, is used by the counselor to just simply assure the client, support the client, and or reinforce what the client is saying. So by simply using this skill, you can perform all three of those acts without even saying a single word. So let's take a look at how you attend. Attending is one of those skills that tends to get better with time. Experienced and seasoned counselors typically do better with attending skills, while inexperienced or beginning helpers have room to grow with the various dimensions of attending. So it is something that you will have to develop and will develop over time. Communication of attentiveness basically is primarily through 4 dimensions in which you communicate to the client that you are attending. Looking at or facial expressions, or facing the person, giving them eye contact, um, giving them body positions or leaning forward, and then finally avoiding distractions. So let's take a look at each of these. So imagine you're in a personal relationship talking with someone, not a professional, but just a personal. And as you're talking with that person, you start getting deeper and deeper into your conversation and you start expressing your own personal feelings and thoughts. As you're doing this, that person tends to turn away, start looking around because it's starting to make them a little bit uncomfortable. What does that do for you as a speaker? So the first step is facing the person. So in your professional relationship, you're developing this rapport with the client. You're trying to build a relationship and build security. You want to face that person. If you're sitting in a chair, hopefully there's not a desk between you. Turn your body towards that person that you're speaking so that you can see their face, they can see your face. So this leads to facial expressions, one of the very important nonverbals. Being able to see a person's face and allowing them to be able to see your face is accomplished by simply turning your body towards them. You can then better understand their anger, their disgust, their fears, their sadness, and or their happiness once you face that person and can share facial expressions or view their facial expressions. Mirroring is another skill that you can use that will help you enhance during this time period. So when you face that person, if they're talking, if they're looking sad, you want to mirror and have a sad face. You don't want to sit there smiling as if everything's going great. So mirroring and looking at facial expressions are sub skills that you will use, but nonetheless, the main and first skill of attending is facing the person. So we have facing the person. The next step is to provide eye contact. Give eye contact to your clients. Imagine facing the person, but you're still looking down at the ground or looking around the room. That really kind of defeats facing the person. So now you must give eye contact to that client and then allow that client to give eye contact back to you. Just be careful with eye contact. Couple of caveats here. Eye contact can produce anxiety in a person. If a person's not comfortable giving you eye contact, do not force them. Don't start leaning all around and just trying to get all in their face. Just as long as you're providing that opportunity for eye contact is the most important thing. Eye contact signals that you're involved and including the client in the counseling relationship. It also may enhance the communication of a complex message. So if the client's dealing with something that's extremely important, they may be crying and upset, giving them that eye contact, a little subtle eye contact is a good thing. It shows that you are including and that you are involved in them and what they're stating. Another thing to be careful of is just a gaze less than longer than 10 seconds can signal some type of aggression, particularly if you have a client that's kind of really upset and maybe mad about something and they're dealing with possibly anger management issues. If you just sit there and stare at that person, that can signal aggression to them. So just be careful about that. Also, staring at a person in the eyes for too long can signal to a person or send a sign that you may admire them. As opposed to just accepting them and what they're saying, it may signal that you have an admiration for them. So be very careful with the eye contact. Nonetheless, it is extremely important to provide that avenue to the client. So we have facing the person, giving them eye contact. Our third step is to lean forward in your chair. Don't lean back, don't slouch all down. Um, your body position and movements are involved in showing the client that you are attentive and that you are listening. So remember, so far, we've not said a single word. You just face that person, you've given them eye contact, and now you're leaning forward. This illustrates to the client that you are actively attending them and they have your attention. Sometimes I know sometimes some of you like to cross your legs. Crossing your legs can signal to the clients that you're closed off and that you are getting tired and you're losing focus. So you're shifting your legs, crossing and all of that. Be careful with that as well. So leaning forward is your third step to attending. Be careful not to slouch and be careful with continually crossing your legs. This leads us to our final step in attending. We are facing the person, giving them eye contact, leaning forward, and now avoiding distractions. One of the worst things you can do to a client is during the middle of them talking, having this pen in your hand and start clicking. Be careful about fidgeting with pens, pencils, paper, and any other thing that gives the appearance to the clients that you're either bored or you're mentally preoccupied with something else. Avoiding distractions. Set the pen down. Push away from your desk. Put the paper down. Avoid those distractions that could make you become preoccupied. Some of you guys tend to tap your foot, tap your heel, twirl your fingers, pick your nails, fidget with your hair. All of those are distractions that presents to the client that you are mentally preoccupied or that you're bored or you need something to do. Some counselors tend to sit there and you could tell when they become distracted if they're a smoker. They really start fidgeting. So get your smoking in check before you hit this field because that will be a distraction. And counselors tend to want to hurry a client through counseling because they get antsy. So be careful. Body movement and comfort with physical space. So be careful with the space that you have with the client as well, while avoiding distractions, and while you're setting up the counseling setting. Um, Physical space depends and varies from culture to culture and gender to gender. Male female relationships in the counseling settings. So be careful with the seating arrangements, and nonetheless, all that plays a factor in avoiding distractions. So now that you know the 4 steps of attending: facing the person, giving them eye contact, leaning forward, and avoiding distractions, let's take a look at a couple of obstacles that could affect the attending relationship. Number one, being judgmental. You can attend that person and you still haven't said a word, but your mind is still ticking up there. So be careful about becoming judgmental about what a person is saying, and be careful about having biases about what they're saying. Those are definitely obstacles to attending. And as you start thinking and focusing on being more judgmental or critiquing what they're saying, your body language will show that. There are little indicators on your face. It could be an eyebrow, it could be a lip, it could be a nostril moving, it could be a twitch that you may have that you're unaware of. So be careful about your biases and your non and being judgmental when you're listening to a person. Another caveat or an obstacle is starting to pigeonhole your clients. Because you're listening so well, you start nitpicking all the little small things that they're saying and pointing those out to a client. Hey, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Can you elaborate a little bit more about that? Be a little bit more specific about that. When you use terms like that with a client, that's when you're starting to pigeonhole them to get them focused on one particular area. But for the client, they may not want to focus on that area. They're just leading to another main topic that they really want to discuss. So be careful about pigeonholing. A close relationship to pigeonholing is attending to the facts, the specific facts that a person is saying. Maybe they're talking about drug use, and initially, when they start talking about smoking pot, they were talking about smoking a blunt. And now they're talking about smoking a pipe. And as they're talking about it, they may just mix up their terms, but you start attending the facts in your head saying, I thought it was a blunt. Now it's a pipe. This isn't adding up. Be careful about that. Another obstacle that the attending can create, or a couple other obstacles, is number one, sympathizing, starting to feel sympathy with that client. Now, yes, you still have the skill of empathy, but remember, we talked about this last week. Empathy is not the same as sympathy. And then be careful about sympathizing when you're attending. And then interrupting is another obstacle. Do not interrupt your clients. Allow them to talk, even if they get off topic. This is their session, it's not your session. Although at some point you will need to use a skill of refocusing that client to focus them back on topic. But nonetheless, don't interrupt, because they could potentially be leading to something that they're really trying to get out. So those obstacles of attending, be aware of, um, as they can hamper the relationship. So far, everything that we've talked about has been nonverbal. The actual act of attending itself, facing a person, giving eye contact, leaning forward, and avoiding distractions. But during this process, the client's talking, and now it's time for you to speak. So this leads to verbal and selective attention. Just remember, the things that you say will have an immediate impact on your clients. That's why it is extremely, extremely, extremely important to be aware of your personal biases and your prejudices, because those can impact the client and impact that relationship. Or if you're dealing with countertransference, you're now mentally in a situation to where you're responding from a personal perspective. That can affect the relationship as well. So the things that you say will have an immediate impact on the clients. Because remember, the setting in which you're in, this is a professional setting in which safety has been established, and or you're attempting to establish a safe environment for that client to talk. So you have to be attentive, and you have to be aware of what you're speaking and what you're saying. Because for the most part, for many of your clients, what you say is what they're going to go home and practice. So be aware that what you speak has an immediate impact on your clients. And I can't stress that enough, my friends. Stay on topic with and stay with the topic that the client introduces. Do not pigeonhole, do not go down a rabbit hole and start pursuing other things that the client may be leading to or have talked about. Just stay on topic. Don't bounce around. Just allow that client to lead the session and develop that session, and then just kind of pursue it from there. The use of intermittent one word phrases. Okay. Yes. What else? That serves pretty much the same purpose as a head nod or eye contact. If a client is speaking and they state a phrase or something, you do not always have to restate or say something. Sometimes just nodding your head will continue that client on with their speaking. Sometimes a simple word, some of those phrases, okay, uh-huh, sure, what else? Those words will allow that client to continue on with their conversations as well, particularly in those situations where you may not necessarily have something to say and or you don't know exactly what to say. Just simply a one-word phrase and allow that client to continue talking. While you're attending the client, you are listening for what's called context. Listening for context is listening in its deepest sense, meaning you're listening to ways in which the clients are influenced by their environment, how they're influenced by the relationships that they're in, and you're listening to how the community influences that client. Listening for context not only involves attending to the context surrounding the client, so not only listening to what the client is saying, but also involves attending to and clarifying the meaning that the clients give to these contextual elements. So you're listening to the client and you're attending and clarifying to the client and to yourself what they're saying, how these various situations, environments, relationships are affecting them, and what it's causing them to do in their lives. So you're listening for more than what the client is saying. You're listening at their body language. You're listening at what their eyes are telling you. You're listening to their tone of voice. So listening for context is listening, it encompasses all of that. It's a holistic approach, not just focusing on what a person is saying, but the elements that affect that person that causes him to say those things as well. Okay, so now we have reached our last slide. This is a short lecture this week, but I want you guys to maybe just sit in a chair and focus on doing these 4 steps of attending to learn to show body interest. If you have a person around around your home that's talking to you, show these or practice these skills with them without letting them know what you're doing. Step number 1, facing the person. Step number 2, giving them eye contact. Step number 3, if you're sitting down, lean forward. Sometimes you may be standing. So again, facing a person will take care of that. And then the 4th step of attending is avoiding distractions. Learn to put things down that may be a distraction to you. If you're in the office, in a counseling setting, learn to set your chair to where you're not going to be distracted. So you're not going to be looking out of a window or watching the phone when it rings to see who it is that's calling you. So steps of attending, facing the person, giving them eye contact, lean forward, and avoiding distractions.